Hey, hi, it's Tammy Lynn Hancock. I'm the little engine that could, and you can be the little engine that could too, if you just don't give up. Hey, today I wanted to talk to you about something that's been on my mind for a while. And I wanted to tell you the story about Pavlov, and to find out if you are one of Pavlov's dog. Now, I'm going to read a little bit to you about who Pavlov is. In 1902, Pavlov was a scientist, and he learned that, that dogs could be conditioned to have certain behaviors. What he found out was there was an unconditional response with the dogs, and that when they brought food to the dogs, that they would salivate. And so he thought he'd take his experiments a little bit further. And as he studied the dogs, he found out that there were other triggers that were unconditional responses. So what he found out was that when the dogs associated food with something, they also began to salivate. So the first part of his experiment was that when the assistant came in with the food, even at the sight of the assistants, he measured more salivation from the dogs. So now they weren't only responding to the food itself, but was something that was associated with the food. So then he took it at one more step. He thought he was going to take a bell and use it as a neutral kind of stimulus. So whenever he gave the food to his dogs, he also rang a bell. After a number of repeats of this procedure, he tried ringing the bell on its own. And as you might expect, just ringing the bell caused the dogs to salivate. So the dogs learned an association between the bell and the food, and a new behavior was learned. So what does Pavlov dog have to do with you? Well, I was thinking about things in general. The other day I put a post up, and I talked about how 97% of the people will never reach their full potential. And that it's only 3% of the people will break out of the mold, will go against what the crowd is doing. And when I put that post up, out of all the hundreds of people that are following me and are friends with me, I got about 10 responses from people who were willing to say, I'm part of that 3%. And I thought about that, and I said, that is amazing. Just in the small group of people that follow me, that I deal with, only 10 people were willing to raise their hand and say I was going to be part of the 3%. So I was thinking about that a little bit more. Why is that? Hey Sarah, hey Hyder. I think that this Pavlov response, this learned response, is something that's just permeating our society. You see, we have this learned response that we can't be more than we are. Some people have the learned response that if you never went to high school, you can never be an executive in a company. And that's not true. Bye, honey. Have a good day. Some people have this learned response that because they're short, they could never succeed in even playing basketball. And that's not true either. You see, we have these conditioned responses that our society puts out at us. Lately, it seems as that our society is putting out a Pavlov dog response of nastiness and negativity, whereas now, because of the masses, all the mass of the dogs are out there, and all the dogs are saying it's okay to be nasty and scream and yell at people and cut people down because they look different. They think it's okay to yell at people because you don't agree with them in restaurants and mortify them and do unkind things and to tear them down because they dared to say something that you didn't agree with. And they have this whole Pavlov set of standards for themselves that they use against other people, but if it's done to them, they don't like it. It's that Pavlov kind of attitude that our society says that people just don't think. They just go along with it, and they mindless. And if the whole rest of the pack is out there salivating over their food, even though there's no food there, there's just an assistant or a bell ringing, they're going to be standing there with a spit running down their mouth too. Well, you know one thing that Pavlov found out, that not every single dog fit the pattern. There were a couple dogs who just didn't want to follow the Pavlov pattern. And they were the 3%. Some of those dogs may have gotten put down. They may have been labeled as unacceptable, the people that would never make it. But you know what? In society, you have a choice. You're going to be a Pavlov dog and go along with what everybody's doing without thinking, or you're going to be one of those 3% people who stand up and say, nope, I'm not going to do that. Nope, I see you all behaving bad. I'm not going to do it. Nope, I see you pushing down a statue. I'm not going to do it. No, I see you cutting down this person because they're deformed, or they don't have a leg, or they have an abnormal growth on their face. I'm not going to participate that. I'm going to be the 3%. I'm actually going to use my brain and not be a Pavlov dog. This goes, this thinking, breaking out of the mold, being the 3%, goes in relationships. So you're going to be one of those people that goes along with the crowd and says, oh, relationships don't matter. Go ahead, just blow these people off. Are you going to be one of those people that say, business doesn't matter, you don't have to do your best at business? After all, they're put in your 9 to 5, don't put your best out. Are you going to be that kind of Pavlov dog? Or are you going to be the 3% that works really hard? How about in your online business? Are you going to be the Pavlov dog that does it the wrong way by spamming people, by making people run away from you? Or are you going to be the Pavlov dog that says, you know what, I'm going to dare to be different. I'm going to break the mold. I'm going to be part of the 3%. I've thought about this a lot. I don't want to be a Pavlov dog. I've never been a Pavlov dog. Hey, thanks for these thumbs up. I love to see it. And I see that there's more of you out there that don't want to be a Pavlov dog. So look at yourself today. What things do you have to change? Where is your mindset all messed up? Get your mindset straight. Don't be afraid to be different. Don't be afraid to say, no, I'm not going to do it. Don't follow the frenzy of the pack. Be part of the 3% that stands alone. There was a story in the Bible about a guy named Daniel. And Daniel was brought in, and he was part of the people who were going to be, he's part of the Israelites, and all these boys were being trained to be part of the leadership. And everybody else was a Pavlov dog. They ate what the king's eunuchs told them to eat. They did, and they dressed, and they just went along with the pack. They were a Pavlov dog. But Daniel dared to be different. He ate something different. He dressed differently. He fed himself differently. And as a result, Daniel was the one who was the strongest. Daniel was the one that ended up being in the leadership, because Daniel dared to be a Daniel. He dared to stand alone from the pack. Daniel was part of that 3%. So my challenge to you today is, are you a Pavlov dog? Is that all you're going to be happy with? Are you going to keep up with that mediocrity and just be a Pavlov dog, and then when the bell rings, just run with the pack and never get anywhere? Or are you going to stand up and be part of that 3%? That 3% who says, nope, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to do things differently. I'm going to work my relationships better. I'm going to do my businesses better. I'm going to treat my employers better. Good thoughts. For me, I'm a 3%. If you want to join me and be part of that 3%, I want you to put a number 1 below, or raise your hand and scream, I'm part of that 3%. If you're one of those people that you're struggling and you want to be part of that 3%, but you don't know how to change your mindset, I've got some really good tools that can help you. They're daily classes that you can get into to really help you change your mindset with how you view yourself, with how you view other people, with how you view weight loss, all these positive mindsets. Put a number 2 below, and I can give you some information on how you can change this mindset. And if you're really wanting to learn how you can take your business, your online business, and move it to the next level by being part of that 3%, I want you to put a number 3 below, and I will meet with you and go over some really great skills with attraction marketing so that you can break out of the Pavlov dog syndrome. Are you with me? I hope you are. Hey, I see some number 1s in there, Ngozi. I know you're one of those. Think about it and join me in the 3% group. Food for thought. As always, feel free to share what I give you. If you've got a question, just message me and I'll talk to you more about this. And I hope you have a great Sunday. God bless.